Oh my god, I'm gonna actually analyze a song again. You know what? I'm gonna do two songs. These are two great songs by two great bands that use the same execution of groupings, a concept we discussed in a previous video. Let's do it!
Groupings are born when you write or play a phrase that doesn't evenly divide into the subdivision you're in. Was that clear? No? Well, you can check out this video if you want to know more. Hashtag self-promotion! The way I go about analyzing these groupings is very straightforward. First, I find the time signature. Second, I'll discover what the subdivisions are, and only then I can analyze the polyrhythm itself. You know how I always talk about the amount of power one side of the polyrhythm can have? So the more power it has, the more rhythmic attention it gains. This fact makes finding the time signature not the easiest, but let's try.
Let's cross-analyze these two. Starting with the classics, Kansas are one of my earliest introductions to prog rock. And as a kid in our house, we had a live album of theirs. I think it was called Dust in the Wind, but I also think it's a bootleg because I just can't find it anywhere. That was one of the best live albums I've ever heard. This is the outro of Song for America by Kansas. The time signature here is not very hard to pick out. The drums are very clear. And the harmony is very steady. So we can easily count 4, and considering the genre, I'll call it 4/4. Alright, let's check out song number 2.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Oh, you are very right. Dave Matthews Band is a huge American rock band, and their 1996 album Crash is a total masterpiece. Track number 7 on that album is Drive In, Drive Out. Finding the time signature here may be a bit trickier, but not too much. There's a backbeat on the snare that sets everything in place. Even though the harmony here is also steady, the bass and the guitar are playing some adventurous lines here. Luckily enough, the drums are very clear, and we can very easily count a 6. So I'll call it a 6/8. The next step I'll go through would be listening to subdivisions of both examples. So, back to Kansas. These are the main beats. I hear each of these notes divided into 4 subbeats, so 16 notes. Also, it's safe to say that most rock songs use this side of the subdivision family. How about the Dave Matthews song? Well, here we're in 6/8. That kinda reveals the subdivision. Here we're also in 8th notes and 16 notes.
Okay. Now we get to the actual juicy part. The violins. Violins in plural. They both have a violin player. How cool is that?
In both songs, the grouping is carried by the violin as a melodic line.
Now we get to the actual melodies we're discussing. In the Kansas song, The violin strictly plays consecutive 16 notes. In the DMB song, oh, I call them DMB now, we're old pals. The violin plays a combination of 16 notes and eighth notes.
So, looking at the two sides of both polyrhythms, this is what we got. Side 1 will be as follows. For the Kansas song, we have a subdivision of 4, meaning each one of the quarter notes in this 4/4 bar is divided into 4 subbeats. So yeah, 16 notes. As for the DMB song, we also have a division by 4.
But notice, our main beats are eighth notes, which means that in every 6/8 bar, we have 12 16 notes.
Back to Kansas. The pattern we're talking about is created by changes in pitch, so basically a melody. Let's figure the notes out. I can clearly hear that the melody I'm trying to analyze is shorter than 1 bar, so I'll transcribe 1 bar and look for patterns. Do you see it? We have 2 identical motifs that both contain the same 7 notes. Hence, our first group is a 7-note melody. Great. Moving on to the DMB song, the bars are a bit shorter, so it may be a bit harder to find. I'll approach this one in a different way.
If we listen carefully, we realize that every 4 bars of 6/8, our melody line restarts, so it realigns with beat 1. This can only happen if you make some adjustments to the last repetition or any repetition within that melody. So if you notice, the phrase repeats a number of times fully, and then there's one last repetition that is slightly shorter. That phrase, that short phrase, is the adjustment that allows the melody to restart on beat 1.
If we know we have 4 bars of 6/8, we know we have a total of 24 eighth notes in 4 bars. So instead of trying to count the length of each individual phrase, let's try and count the total amount of times the phrase repeats. So we're in a 24 beat frame, 4 bars of 6/8, and we have 4 full repetitions of the phrase and 1 slightly shorter one. The only numbers we can mathematically fit here are 5, 5, 5, 5, and 4. Let me count this out for you.
A cool difference to realize about these two examples is the polyrhythmic cutoff point. This, by the way, is totally an artistic choice. The DMB example is contained into a 4-bar structure, which means you repeat the phrase fully as many times as you can till you get to a point where you have to use a shorter phrase in order to finish up those 4 bars and start again on beat 1. The Kansas example just never ends. It loops on forever, again and again and again and again and again. This is the outro of the song, and it ends with a fade out, so technically we don't even get a resolution point for this phrase, as if it was a completely separate musical unit that just floats over the outro till the song fades out. 2 different approaches, both are cool stuff.
So, to sum everything up, Song for America is a song in 4/4, at least the outro, that has a 7/16 note long melody circling around it that never ends. And Drive In, Drive Out is a 6/8 song that has a 5/8 note long melody that repeats 4 times, plus a shorter version of it at the end, only because we're in a 4-bar frame. Thank you very much for watching.
By the way, I found some new live versions of Drive In, Drive Out, and they don't play this polyrhythm anymore. I don't know why. It's a bummer. I like the 5.